Listen up. We're going to recap what happened last week. Trey Lance was traded. Nick Bosa is still holding out, and we're going to find out who's a lock for the 49ers as they dwindle down to their 53-man roster. Stick around right here on the Wayne Breezie Show. It's Monday, baby.
We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the bay. We so bright that we shining. All we know is the Niners. Red and gold at its finest. We so faithful to the bay. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Wayne Breezie, and we are back. It is Monday. What's going on, faithful? Woo! I wanted to start the show off with the little, before I popped in, I don't know if you were able to see the background. I tell you what, I'll do it one more time. Those are my sentiments to the Dallas Cowboys. One more time, just so y'all can read and understand where Okay, now that we got that out the way, welcome to the Wayne Breezie Show. I hope you guys are excited as I am. It is Monday, which means you get to start your day off with the one and only myself, Wayne Breezie. Shout out to everybody out there. I see the BB crew in the building. Early Peachy in the building. Welcome to the show. Be sure and smash that like button on the way and join the BB crew. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and let a friend know about this great 49er content. Shout out to Peachy. I appreciate that. Who else is in the building? Mike Ing is in the building. Tanisha, good morning, Breezy and Faithfuls. Let's have another great show, baby. That's what I like to see, like to hear. The wonderful Miss Debbie is in the building. Good morning, Wayne, and happy Monday. See my smile? I'm happy, baby. I hope y'all start this week off locked in. Ooh, I like that. We're going to start the week off locked in and striving for success all week long. All right, let's all make it happen with the hashtag BB. Don't bother me in the building with the hashtag popping off. The one and only Troy Noel is in the building. Caster Troy, happy Monday, Breezy. What's going on? My man Colin in the building. I see you, Oscar. What's going on, baby? I love it, man. I love it. Niner Cali boy in the building. Listen, I got your merch. I think I brought your merch downstairs. I wanted to showcase it on the show. I'll get a chance to get that out there. But shout out to Niner Cali boy. What's going on in the building? Jax Knox in the building. Hello, faithful. Hey, Wayne. Hope everyone's day is going good. And shout out to all the subscribers out there. People are probably trying to figure out, like, how come I don't announce, like, the subscribers? Well, one of the perks of being in the BBC crew, which you can do by just clicking the join button, is that you get that good old shout out once I see that green name pop across the screen. So no matter what time it is in the show, if it's the first time I'm seeing it, you're going to get the shout out. Now listen, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, leave a comment. All right, if you're watching this a little bit later on, leave a comment in the comment section. This past weekend, I've been going in my comments, and I would say I would apologize for me clapping back, but no, there's no apologies. If you say something that I feel like needs to be said something back to, I hope you don't get offended by me responding. Now, listen, I keep it tasteful. I'm not disrespectful. And shout out to everybody that leaves comments. There are zero disrespectful comments in there. I like when people just get things off their chest. And I want people to be heard. I think that's what this community is all about. You being able to get stuff off your mind and being heard. But listen, if you're on the YouTube channel, that's where a lot of the back and forth stuff goes. It goes down in the comment section. So shout out to you. Now, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. All right, feel free to join. And if you really like what you see, what you hear, if you haven't done it already, go ahead and click that join button. Become a member. Now, don't forget, the podcast is growing. Now, I did add the podcast to the YouTube channel. So YouTube has podcasts now. So it's also going to be every Wayne Breezie show is also going to be a podcast as well. But listen, don't forget to subscribe to the Wayne Breezie show. Apple Podcasts and Spotify is where it's really taking off. It's popping. All right. Make sure you guys go ahead and do so. You can follow on Twitter, X. You can subscribe as well at the Wayne Breezie, as well as Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and Facebook. Now, if you're in the Facebook community and you're in a 49ers Facebook community, I'm going to challenge you. Take the show, the stream, like grab the link, post it in the community that you're in. Let people know. Listen, man, you can follow him on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. Listen, I need you to help push me so we can get to the top. We, not me, we can get to the top. Because if I get to the top, you're going to be at the top. Love you guys. Appreciate that. Now, listen, the exclusive content is being crafted up for the Patreon. So if you've been a Patreon member for this long, and if you're not a Patreon, this is where you're going to get the film analysis, the breakdowns, and things like that. I'm putting little things out there, but you'll get the full breakdowns and things like that right there on the Patreon. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you have that subscription as well. All right. And don't forget, look, we got the apparel. It's going to be popping. www.twben.com. That's the Wayne Breezie Entertainment Network. Now, let me tell you something about the network, because a lot of people are like, well, what the hell is this network? All right. So I'm creating a network for you. Right. So I want to gather and put together those that want to be a part of getting their broadcasts, their podcasts, their streams, things like that shown on my website. Right. So www.twben.com. Now, how do you do that? Well, that's good. That's in the works. So we're working on getting your stuff showcased as well. And it doesn't cost anything. Right. So like, I just want to make sure that your stuff is getting pushed out to the forefront, and so that you're getting more views by drawing traffic to the app's actual website. So there will be an application process on how to get involved and how to be a part of that. But that's what we're working on. I know my man Mike Ng, we're going to get his show up there, Mose, and some certain other people that have come to me that we've been talking about it behind the scenes. But there it is, man. Go to www.twben.com and you could become a member of the website, so that you're full and you're good on the updates. It doesn't cost you a thing, but that's what the plan of the entertainment network is going to be about, whether it's sports, whether it's music, as long as it has to do with entertainment. That's what we're going to be doing. All right. Over there on the website. And don't forget, Faithful to the Bay is out. You heard it in the intro of the song. All right. You can purchase it on all musical platforms. But if you don't want to purchase it, please make sure you stream it. Make sure you download it to your phone as well. Downloads, streams all count. Purchases count as well. We got the great Lake City Fresh on there. You guys probably will get to meet him in Pittsburgh if you go into the game. And the one and only Travis King is on there as well. So listen, man, make sure you help support the artistry. Music costs money to make. Trust me, it's not easy, but looking to bring you more musical content from myself and some of the other 49er music creators out there. So that's what I'm working on as we speak. All right, man, let's get down to the get down, man. Look, a lot of stuff was going down. We got our first super chat contribution. We're gonna go ahead and get that popping. Jax Knox with the contribution. So it's an updated prediction. She's starting to show off with an updated prediction. She went from 17-0 to 13-4. Interesting. Would love to get her take on why the update. Feel free. Talk about it. All right. But listen, appreciate the super chat contribution. I see them in the chat. They want to know, who are we losing to? Jax, you just opened up Pandora's box. So good luck to answering the questions out there. I see my man Ralph is in the building. Says, I hope Breezie has Isaiah Oliver cut. Listen, tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Nitty Gritty Niners Talk. We're going to do our 53-man roster show. Everybody that's a part of that group is going to have their own 53-man roster. So it's going to be very interesting to see on there. Do I have Isaiah Oliver cut? You're going to have to tune in to find out. I give you a hint. Yes. Tune into the show and we'll get down to the nitty gritty on that particular episode. All right. Listen, today's episode, we're going to get down to who stood out, who is a lock from the preseason. All right. And that's what this show is particularly about. I got 3 players that I feel like are locks. I mean, locked in, loaded, locked. whatever you want to call it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I can't wait to present those to you. But before we get to that, there's a lot of 49ers stuff that's happened over the past weekend. And let's just go ahead and do a quick recap. All right, on Friday, because I haven't talked to you since. I mean, we've talked. You've seen me. But Friday, 49ers traded their former first-round pick, Trey Lance, to the Dallas Cowboys for a fourth-round 2024 pick. And I want to know, all right, we're not going to talk. I want to know how you guys are grading this pick. You guys have had some time to kind of like let it simmer, let it saute, kind of like let the overreaction stuff out. You know what I'm saying? And things like that. You can't say who won this trade yet. Because A, we haven't drafted the fourth round pick, and B, he hasn't played for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he passed the physical, I believe. All right. Now, I want to know, what are you guys giving this grade? I'm going to go ahead and post it in the chat if I see some grades pop up. All right. So, Terra Dome, what's going on? The Bishop's in the building. You get the air horns, bro. Bishop's in the building. Says I give it a D. My man. The Shaw Show's in the building. Listen, we got a draft coming up this Saturday. I'm super excited. Fantasy football draft. He gets in an F. All right. Eddie G and the Bulldogs, my brother from another mother. All right. I like this, man. D minus. Now, listen, you freaky. How anything, there's no such thing as an F plus or an F minus. Come on, freaky. I'm cool with the F. I'm cool. But F minus, come on, man. That ain't how it works. Unless, I don't know maybe that's some school grading system on Mars or something like that. F minus. Tristan, what the hell is a Z? Z's like, he sleeping? What's going on? Pardon my wave. D. Freaky went from an F minus to a Z minus. Love it. We got a D. My man Kali gave it a B. It's the highest grade so far. Shay Martinez, another F minus. I got to get used to F minuses, you know. Ronnie 33, what's going on, family? Gave it a C minus. All right. Interesting. You guys can keep them coming in. Let me go ahead and give you my take on it. And look, I get it. I get the low grades. Did Philly Niner just say F you? Is that to me? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. You gave me a FFU, a FFF minus. Damn, that's low. FU, damn. I didn't think I did anything. Hurricane 74 F. I like the grades. All right, here's our highest grade. Grizz. And I want to talk about this, Grizz. You gave it a B plus. It's funny because I feel like you and I are on that same wavelength, but then I started digging and I started doing my research, right? And so at first I'm like, oh, this is a B. They were able to flip, a person that hasn't played any football. I know he was a first round pick, but he didn't play any football. Now, the reports out there were saying that Trey Lance could have gone to the Buffalo Bills. I think the Detroit Lions were in on it. And the Baltimore Ravens. They were offering 6-round picks for Trey Lance. They were definitely trying to lowball. Philly Niners says 4 degree. We're trying to lowball or whatnot. Look, I don't know how you can give it an F unless you're pissed off that we didn't get more. I'm curious to know if you're pissed off. Like, are you upset that you didn't get higher than a 4th round pick? I don't think anybody was getting higher than a 4th round pick, or anybody was giving up higher than a 4th round pick. Jerry Jones, I think he was being a little bit generous, and this doesn't have to do with Trey Lance's ability or things like that. But when you draft a quarterback off of potential and doesn't play up to any type of the potential that you drafted him up to, then teams are just going to take a crapshoot on the quarterback. So like the 6 round picks, I don't even think those were low ball picks. We've seen players, former first round picks, go for 6 round picks. Isaiah Simmons. He's not a quarterback, but I'm just saying Isaiah Simmons got traded to the New York Football Giants, I believe, for a 7th round pick, 1st round pick, top pick in the draft, top 10, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? And ended up getting, particularly, he was gone for a 7th round pick. So we see sometimes and he played, so his value dropped because he wasn't living up to the potential. James Wilson calls it an A plus. This is definitely the highest grade I've seen. Don't forget, there's a poll question, not on this particular episode, but there's an actual poll question going on in the community tabs on YouTube. So definitely check that out and leave your grade. You can leave your comments and stuff there as well. Here's my take on it, right? So at first I was in the B's. I think I was a mid B to a B minus to a B. I was like, yo, this could be something good for the 49ers. They were able to trade a player that they definitely didn't utilize. And then when they chose to utilize Trey Lance, I felt like they did him a disservice because they didn't utilize him to his strength. So he didn't really get to showcase anything. And I feel like if the 49ers were trying to move on from Trey Lance, they probably wanted to show what he can do. And then you saw in the Denver Broncos game, after the interception, right, which was a typical screen pass, I felt like the defensive lineman made a play. Trey was moving the ball on that drive as well, so it wasn't like he looked bad moving the ball on that drive. And it doesn't really matter if it was third strings. I think when you get a quarterback in the game, you just want to see if they can find a way to be efficient. And I think with Kyle Shanahan, that's what he's looking for. But what I'm going to say is, he moved the ball efficiently until the interception and then came back from the interception and then did it again. Like we ended up winning the game, right? We ended up beating the Denver Broncos, toward the end of the game. We actually had a minute left. Trey got the ball down to the goal, damn near goal line, and we downed the ball and we kicked the game winning field goal to win the game. So he did get to showcase that. So I think that helped show some type of a promise for a team. But there's so many reasons why I feel like Trey Lance was traded. And the one that kind of sticks and kind of makes sense is the simple fact that, you look at this as a business move. That's how I'm going to choose to look at it. You don't have to. You can look at it however you want. It's your prerogative. But the way I'm accepting this trade is it's a business move for the future. The 49ers want their quarterback room to be even cheaper. I thought it was pretty cheap with Trey Lance, but you were going to have some questions and guarantees down the road. And you were essentially paying $10 million for a quarterback too. And I think they felt like they had a cheaper option for quarterback 2 and Sam Darnold. And that's kind of the way they went with it. And they had to find a suitor to move on, which they did. And the Dallas Cowboys took him. So here's my grade. I'm going to go with a C plus because I was in the B minus to the B. And then I did my research. And you're probably like, well, what the hell research are you talking about? And so, look, fourth round pick. I rather would have traded Trey Lance for 2 fifth-round picks. I would have been more ecstatic if they would have traded Trey Lance for 2 fifth-round picks. All right? And here's why. When I look at the fourth round, I just don't see, since 2017, here are the picks that we've drafted in the fourth round. Ready? Don't get mad. I got to go to my notes. I take notes. This is what I was taught to do. All right, here we go. Fourth round pick since 2017. Kyle's first season, 2017. Joe Williams, how'd that pan out? No longer on the team. Contavious Street, 2018. How'd that pan out? No longer on the team. Okay. Mitch Wishnowsky, 2019, on the team. All right. And then Spencer Burford, 2022, currently on the team. He's currently the starting right guard for the San Francisco 49ers. So have they overcome picking in the fourth round and getting better players? I don't know. That's to be seen or to be continued, however you want to say it. But at the end of the day, look, I just don't think that's a round that they covet. They kind of take gambles in that particular round. I mean, you see, that's a round that they'll say, hey, we'll draft a special teams player. And the way the compensatory picks have been working as of lately, when you look at Jake Moody, essentially, I know we took him in the third round, essentially he was essentially a fourth round pick. I just want to put that out there. I mean, compensatory picks pushed him back into the third round because that's what compensatory picks do, right? So you get a compensatory pick. It's a late addition into the third round. But technically, he's a fourth round pick. So, hey, it is what it is. So that's why I gave it a C+, but that's just a recap of what happened. I know a lot of people are over the Trey Lance. And listen, here's my take. When you say you're over it, and I'm glad and I'm happy for people that are over it. That's so cool, but you got to give people time to get over it. You got to give people time, right? People have invested. People have, you got to give, everybody's going to take their time to get over a situation. You ever get into an argument with your significant other, right? So that, and then you get into the argument, but now you're ready to move on from the argument, but the other party isn't ready. They need time. So you just got to give it a little bit of time. And for those that are over it, that's cool. I don't apologize for bringing it up. It's just a recap of what happened over this past weekend. But Trey Lance is gone, right? He's no longer a 49er, and we wish him nothing but the best with the Dallas Cowboys because he's Trey Lance. I would say if it was any other player, I could give two flying craps. He's going to the enemy now, which I still will look at him as the enemy. They'll dap it up at the beginning of the game, I'm sure, come week 5. But Trey Lance is now a Cowboy, so now it's time to whip his ass. All right, there we go. So that's the recap from this weekend. And if you guys cared anything about the football game, because this happened 2 hours before the football game, 49ers lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. Not only that, their preseason record is 1-2. So just a quick, whatever. All right, here's a quick report that came out on this morning. This was per Josina Anderson. I saw this post and I got pretty damn happy. So if you didn't know, the 49ers have a Bill Walsh Fellowship program, and this is where they take players in that are looking to be coaches in the NFL, and they allow them to participate in training camp, and it's kind of like a mentorship program. And we had several coaches come in. We had a former 49er player, Deshaun Goldson, come in and work with the DBs and things like that. But the 49ers decided that they're going to add and hire Coach Jordan Hogan to the offensive staff. Coach Jordan Hogan is going to be an additional coach to the San Francisco 49ers. And I love it. I like the program. I know people have their takes on it. I've read some of the comments on Twitter, and I'm just like, man, no filter from some people's mouths. Now, I understand that he's African-American, and I understand that the 49ers typically can get coaches to get jobs, and when they get head coaching jobs or bigger, greater jobs in the NFL, it turns into a compensatory pick. That's just what we know. But that ain't all. That ain't all. So we wish Jordan Hogan nothing but the best. He's going to be with the 49ers, and we'll see. Is he going to be quality control? Probably he'll start there. Isn't that where Mike McDaniel started? I felt like that's where he started. Quality control, and then moved up to the OC. Now he specializes with wide receivers, but we have our wide receiver coach. So it's going to be interesting to see where Jordan Hogan, what his role is going to be with the team. So that's the latest as far as reports. Congratulations to Jordan Hogan. Let's go with some 49ers news because they have already begun the process of narrowing down the 53. They let go of 5 players. Now, for those that don't know what's going on, the 53-man roster deadline is tomorrow, I believe 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every NFL team has to trim their roster down to 53 men. Now, I want to put out prayers for those players that are going to be unemployed after that day. But, it's the game. It's kind of it's the risk you take, but the opportunity is there. And hey, the Niners like to do due diligence. They have something called the practice squad, and every team has one. And if you did well and you happened to not crack the 53 roster, there are 31 other NFL teams that may be looking at film. So to the players that may get released or waived, please keep grinding. All right. This is for you, man. Keep grinding. Keep your head up, man. All right. So they waived cornerback Nate Brooks, defensive lineman Ladarius Hamilton, defensive lineman Breland Speaks, linebacker Kaihiva Tizino, and defensive lineman Spencer Waggy. All right, so those are 5 players that have been released. Now, there's a possibility that these 5 players, if the 49ers like them, they offer them practice squad contracts. Now, the good thing for these players, once they get released, they become free agents, right? So they can go to whichever team offers them the big deal, and they choose where they want to go. It's not like the Niners say, hey, you're released, here's your practice squad contract. It's kind of like not how it works. These players that are waived have to actually clear waivers. Now, if you're a veteran and you get let go, and this is where the Niners like to play games, right? If you've accrued 4 or more seasons as a veteran, technically you don't have to clear any waivers, right? You can kind of just agree upon such and such, and hey, you'll end up on that practice squad spot. Now, the 49ers have some positions that are dealing with injuries, which we'll get into next, all right? And so here's the injury report. I mean, it is long. I didn't know any injuries, all right, were this long. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about these injuries. All right, so let's start off. Kicker Jake Moody, right quad, listed day to day. I know, rookie, 3rd round draft pick. Talked about him a little bit earlier. Listed day to day. Also, kicker Zane Gonzalez was injured pre-game warm up. He has a calf strain. Now, his injury says he's going to be out for a few damn weeks. So I'm curious to know who will kick for the San Francisco 49ers, and it cannot, and I mean cannot, be Mitch Wishnowsky. He is just not a kicker. He's a punter. He's not a kicker. I guess there's a difference. Clearly there's a difference, because every time he has to come in and be like that emergency kicker, the ball goes skewed to the right, skewed to the left. Now, I see a lot of Robbie Gould things out there. Robbie Gould's going to cost us some bread. So unless you want to spend $7, $8, $9 million when you're on a kicker, that shit ain't happening. I don't see the 49ers spending it. I think the 49ers priority needs to be someone else now that you freed up some money. But hey, maybe they freed up some money to do this kicking, or to solidify the kicking situation. All right. Also, wide receiver Chris Conley, you saw he ended up with a sprained AC joint. All right. Now he's listed day to day, so that's good. He did not return to the preseason game. He did come back in after the play, but then they kind of like ruled him out. Taylor Hawkins broke his hand, and he's likely going to need surgery. So that sounds like, he won't make the roster because of the injury. Running back Jordan Mason, foot sprain, listed day to day. Elijah Mitchell, adductor strain. He's still dealing with that. He's listed day to day as well. You guys know Taco Charlton was released. He got put on the IR, and then they settled on an injury settlement. So I believe he's now going to be a free agent. I'm not sure how his status works. Can the Niners bring him back? I don't know. I don't think so. If they put him on the IR before the season starts. Cameron Latou is going to need meniscus surgery. So he has an injury in his knee, very questionable. Now, I heard there's a report out there saying that Cameron Latou is getting a second opinion. All right, he's getting a second opinion. All right, so we'll see, how that works or whatnot. And then the Baker's cyst. Talanoa Hufanga has not been playing football for the Niners for the past few days because he's been dealing with a Baker's cyst. And people were like, well, what in the heaven of the hell is that? It's fluid. Guess what? It's fluid built up behind the knee. You ready for this? That can lead to a mother freaking meniscus. Can't make this up. Can't make it up, part of my wave. You can't make it up. So it's like he has to get rest so that the inflammation can go down. So I'm sure he's going to end up getting some type of a knee scope. I know you guys know the 49ers and their knee scope players. How would this affect his play? I don't know. Will he miss time? I don't know. I will say this. Here's the ding ding for that one. I'm glad that the 49ers, all right, I'm glad that the 49ers drafted Jair Brown. I will put that ding ding out there. Oh, Ralph says Quantrez nighttime. I don't know, man. I don't know. I want him to make the roster, Ralph. I do. I just don't know if he will. Because as of right now, I don't feel like Talanoa Hufanga is gonna miss any time. I don't, but I do want. Just say Bell. Okay. Well, it goes ding ding. Maybe if I go ding ding like the way it sounds, maybe. No, just say Bell. Because if I say Bell, people gonna think I'm talking about Ronnie Bell. All right, my bad. I'll just say Bell. Sorry, Mike. My bad. My bad. My apologies. All right, my apologies. But I hear there's an option for a kicker named Cade Stover. If you guys, this could be an option. So let me go ahead and look up who the hell that is. All right, so Cade Stover is a kicker. And let's see. Yeah. He was a tight end. Oh, he's a tight end for Ohio State, but now he's a kicker. All right. I don't know. Could be, possibly. Who knows? An option. Here's the thing. I think Jake Moody is going to be fine. I think Kyle Shanahan just knows. Kyle Shanahan is a kind of a genius when it comes to manipulation. That's what I give him. Genius at manipulation, right? That's kind of like where I am. So he kind of knows how to play the game of the injury report of this. Like he just knows it. Like, you know what I mean? So we're going to see what happens. Now, I know people are out there that they're probably salivating at the mouth because Derek Burnett from the Philadelphia Eagles has requested a trade. Let me just remind y'all that we still don't have this guy right here that we're going to talk about really quickly. Nick Bosa. The holdout continues. I'm nervous now. It's August 28th. Tomorrow will be August 29th. Soon it'll be September, whatever. And he might not be on the roster. Now, he doesn't count. If he doesn't sign or if he doesn't show up, he does not count, according to the CBA, he does not count as a roster spot. He won't take up a roster spot. Okay? So for those that feel like they have to put him on the 53, no, the 49ers don't. But the moment he signs, like the moment he shows up to camp, then yes, they'll have to put him on the roster spot. So that's going to be interesting. But what leverage, my question is, what leverage do the 49ers have? What leverage? Now, Nick Knight says he'll sign by the end of this week. Hey, man, I'm with you. But what leverage do the Niners have? Now, I'm going to give y'all a scenario, and this is kind of how I'm thinking it's going. I think the Niners said to Nick Bosa's camp, we're going to give you, again, and we've done this before, we're going to give you 32. I knew Mosquito Killer was going to come with that. I'm going to save that question, so hold on to it. We'll give you $32 million a year. And Nick Bosa's like, I want 40. Let's say he started that high. I mean, it's really high. I mean, it's setting a precedent, though. But it's really high, which I'm not mad at the camp of Nick Bosa setting it that high, man. That's how you work a deal, right? You start high, one team starts low, and then you find your way in the middle. I don't think for any chance that the San Francisco 49ers tried to lowball Nick Bosa. I don't think that's what's going on. I think they just have that number, and technically the Niners are making him per year the highest paid defensive player per year. I think that's what it is. So I think Nick Bosa's camp has to figure out, which number is going to suffice for Nick Bosa. So that's the question, right? All right. And so I like this Golden Dragon. Here we go. Let's put this up here. San Francisco 49ers projected to be $23 million over the cap in 2024. So like going into the future, the Niners are going to be over the cap, even with the cap going up. I know that's a whole nother monster we want to talk about when we open up the show. It's a whole nother monster to get into. But the Niners have to figure it out because they need to find a way to make sure that Nick Bosa's yearly number doesn't hit the cap that hard as of right now until certain caps expire. I think that's the best, easiest way to say it. Easiest way to say it. So what type of leverage do the 49ers have? I don't know. But here's my theory. I feel like the Niners, what if the 49ers are trying to convert his money into like workout bonuses? Now, if you know Nick Bosa, what's the one thing he consistently will not do? That's work out with the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm not saying that the Niners will do something silly like this, but it's just my theory. What if the Niners are saying, "Hey, man, if we'll pay you the money, but we need you to show up here to work out." And what if and it's a big hit, it's a big figure, right? And then what if Nick Bosa's like, "Nah, I like to work out in Florida where I'm comfortable. I come back, I prove things every year that I could do this." But what if that is the silly, dumb ass language that's holding everything up? What if the number is good, but how to get to the number is the issue? I don't know, because we're not hearing anything from any part. You're not hearing anything from the 49ers. You're not hearing anything from Nick Bosa's camp. The only thing we know is that Nick Bosa may still be in New York. That's it. That's all we know. May. Because he ain't posted shit since. But my thing is, what if it's something, and I know that sounds silly to us, right? But what if the Niners are trying to make sure that their investment, they're going to invest a lot of money, and they want to make sure they can micromanage, okay? Micromanage, which I don't like, but I get it. When you're investing in something, you want to make sure it's extra protected. What if that's it? What if that's it? Now, my man Ralph, I like Ralph. Ralph says Bosa doesn't need the Niners to work out or anything. We need him more than he needs us. Well, I don't know. Yeah. We do need him. I don't think our defense will be the same without Nick Bosa. I think the San Francisco 49ers know that. But like this is where it gets iffy. You know, the 49ers like to create incentive-based, heavy laden type of contracts, right? They like players to hit certain marks, and they have zero problems of paying you money if you can hit a mark. Even Sam Darnold's contract is like dirt cheap for the year, right? It's like $1 million, $2 million, something like that. But if he hits a certain amount of money, he's going to make up to $7.5 million, right? Now, I'm hoping we never see Sam Darnold hit the field, and I don't think the 49ers, from a business point, want to see Sam Darnold hit the field, but that's what I'm saying. Those are those type of incentives. Oh, I see the Shaw Show. This is my brother, so he gets it pulled up. 49ers may want incentives similar to what they did with Debo, but Bosa doesn't want that, most likely, since he wants the money up front. Yeah, I don't even think it's about him wanting the money up front. I think it comes down to guarantees and like what's going to be his guarantee. You know what I'm saying? And like, what is he going to get this year? Because like this year, all right. So this year, Bosa's contract is what, 18? Let's just round it and say 18 or 9. You can round it up. Say $19 million. Right? Let's just say it's $19 million on the 5th-year option. I know it's an 18 number, but I can't remember if it's 18.2, 18.7. I don't really want to look that up. But let's just say Nick Bosa's number is that. Is he going to make less than that this year and then backload it for the next couple of years? I think that's what the Niners are trying to do. I don't know why they need to soften the cap that much if they already counted for his 18-something million dollars that's in the cap. But I think the Niners like to have some wiggle room. God forbid anything happens and they need some bread to go do something. And maybe Nick Bosa's like, well, man, no, man, because I'm already going to get 18 million. I can't get less than 18 million this year. So like, is it 17.8? All right, so I was close. So it's like 18. So it's not 18.8, it's 17.8. All right, so let's just round it up to 18. He has to make at least that, in my opinion, this season. That's what his 5th-year option is worth. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why doesn't Nick Bosa go out there and play on the $18 million that he's signed up for? It's simple. It's simple. Let me ask you this question. And y'all be honest. Is Nick Bosa the best defensive player in the league? Thumbs up if you say yes. Thumbs down if you say no. If you're a 49er fan and you say no, you might be questioned. But if you're a Niners fan and you say yes, I mean, I get it. Don't forget to hit that like button too. Since we talk about thumbs up, take a second and hit the like button. But let me ask you this. Is Nick Bosa, see, I didn't even factor all this stuff in. I see where you're going. Mark G gave me the first thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. And we're going to talk about that. New contract will not go fast. I agree, but the question is, he's set to make $18 million this year. So does he still make the 18 million this year, or do they lessen it this year? It's so tricky. I've seen them do this before. They'll give the extension, then when the extension comes in, it doesn't really affect until to the next season, but it relieves a little bit of the cap the season that they're currently in. That's all I'm saying. All right. So thumbs up. He is, but no one is irreplaceable. Interesting. Nick Bosa's irreplaceable, bro. You can't. There'll never be another Nick Bosa. All right. Here's why I asked that question, because I know a lot of people are like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Right. So if Nick Bosa is set to make $18 million, and you just told me he was the best defensive player last year, going into this year. So if he was the best last year, he's clearly the best going into 2023, right? Well, Aaron Donald makes almost $17 million more. That's the issue. This year, Aaron Donald is going to make $31.7 million, and he ain't even the best. And I get it. That's what he set at the market point. But my point is, and Chris Jones is up there, but no one's getting paid more than Aaron Donald. See what I'm saying? So my thing is, if Nick Bosa is the best, and you're telling him that he's the best, and he has the accolades to show that he's the best, then don't you got to make sure he's getting paid as the best? These are just when I'm at the gym, my mind be racing. All right. So don't mind me. It's probably really my heart racing. All right. But listen, the Nick Bosa holdout continues. And the only type of leverage that I can think, the only type of leverage that I could think that the 49ers have, and I don't know how valid or how they can use it, is injuries. Injuries, right? So I go to 2019. He had a couple of ankle injuries that week. Week 1, week 2. A couple of ankle injuries, all right? In 2000, weeks 1, 2, and 3 ankle injuries. I'm sorry. Excuse me. In 2020, missed the whole, predominantly, he played a couple of snaps and then boom, was out for the season, right? And that was to the ACL. 2021, he suffered a concussion. And in 2022, last year, he had a hamstring injury, and he had other injuries that kind of ding. And this, to me, y'all, this is the only thing the 49ers I really feel have to use in their favor, but it's not much. It's not much because he still won. So with the injuries in 2022, he still finished as the defensive player of the year. You see where I'm going with this? With the injuries in his rookie year, he still almost had double-digit sacks. And then he tears his ACL. Oh, well, that happens. But then he comes back, and he should have probably been comeback player of the year. It's just a lot, man. It's just a lot. So the Nick Bosa holdout again continues. The only leverage I think the San Francisco 49ers may have, they could use the injuries against him, and it could be some type of injury settlement, injury clause in the contract. Another language offsetter that can cause the holdup on the holdout. All right, for Nick Bosa. Let's go ahead and get to the preface of the show, and I hope I have some time to open up the phone lines. We can do the hotline. All right, so players that I have locked in. There are 3 players, and the way I'm going to do this exercise, I'm going to focus on a drafted player. I'm going to focus on a free agent signing, and I'm going to focus on an undrafted player. All right. So that's kind of like what I want to do. So let's start with the free agent signing, because that happened first. All right. Now, there was a kicker trade that went down. Chargers. We were just talking about a kicker, but it is not to the 49ers, guys. It's not. I'm sorry. He's going somewhere else. All right. Oh, well. I think the Niners are sold on the kicker. I think Jake Moody's going to be the kicker. Let's talk about the players that I have locked in. All right. So I got 3 players. I'm going to start with, again, the free agent signing. Now, there's a few free agent signings that, are probably locks. But the one that stood out to me, the most during the preseason wasn't Cleveland Farrell, which I feel like he's going to be a lock. It was Marlon Davidson. Marlon Davidson, former second-round pick. All right. Now, this kid is an interior guy, 300 plus. He's a monster. He was a monster on the football field. He was a monster on the football field during the preseason for the 49ers. And I think he beat out Kevin Givens. I know what I saw. You know, he beat out Javon Kinlaw too. Look, this is what he did in the preseason. All right, this is what he did. All right, 5 tackles. He had a sack in the game. 4 stops behind the line of scrimmage. You want to talk about a guy that's going to be a run stopper and get that, not to allow the running back to get ahead or gain any yard. When you get 4 stops behind the line of scrimmage, that speaks out to me more than anything. Niner Nation has a comment. He beat out Givens, McGill, and Kinlaw. Honestly, I think him and McGill are neck and neck. I don't know if he beat him out. I think Kinlaw comes back just off of experience. And I feel like Kevin Givens, it's going to be interesting. I feel like Kevin Givens may get pushed down the depth chart. From what I saw, Marlon Davidson was a monster on the football field. I also liked T.Y. McGill. If I can only choose one of those, and I might do that for Twitter after the show, you can only choose one. I'm curious to know who they would pick. You know what I'm saying? But listen, I don't know Golden Dragon number 5. I love the name too, by the way. I don't know if Givens is a lock, in my opinion. I think Givens can be released and then practice squad, possibly. He doesn't have the accrued seasons. He didn't play a certain amount of games, start a certain amount of games every year since he's been in the league. This is that manipulation stuff that I've been talking about that Kyle Shanahan is pretty damn good at. But it's interesting to see. I think Kinlaw is still making the roster. I don't know if Givens will, though, because of the surgence also of T.Y. McGill. This is like a full year with the Niners, and he's been flashing. So it's going to be interesting to see. But Marlon Davidson, lock. So as a signed free agent, out of all the free agents we signed, and there are plenty of them, this dude, I liked a lot. All right, let's get to let's go in the order. So we had the free agent. Let's go with the draft pick. Now, I know everybody knows who the draft pick is that I'm going to pick, and it's not Jair Brown, even though he's a lock, right? So I'm going to go with the 7th round pick and Ronnie Bell. Not the last 7th round pick, but the second to last 7th round pick, Ronnie Bell. And people were like, oh, you're picking him because he's a Michigan player. Bull crap. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That's not why I'm picking him. I'm picking him, A, because I knew he would come into the league and do damage, right? And B, this dude, led the 49ers receivers, okay, in receiving yards. Now, he still has work to do, right? He still has some work to do, right? He still has to, make sure he secures the ball. He had 2 drops, 2 interceptions that went off his hands, and he had a fumble. I get it. But to me, it's how he recovered after that type of stuff, right? So after the fumble, what did he do? Caught the next damn pass and got positive yards. After the interception, what did he do? Caught the next damn pass and got positive yards. It's like I wouldn't cut Jordan Mason for fumbling in the goal line, because after the fumble, what did he do? Run the ball down the field to get back into scoring position. You get what I'm saying? Fumbles are bad, turnovers are bad, but at the end of the day, Bell is a lock for me. What does he need to improve on? Obviously, his run blocking, okay? That's something that he needs to improve on. That's something that I feel like being in a room with run blockers, I think he'll get a lot better. Who are my top run blockers from the San Francisco 49ers? Well, damn it, bet you by golly, wow, it's Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk. They the tops. Yeah, Debo too pretty to block. I've never seen Debo block. I don't think I've ever, and I don't want him to, because I don't want him to get messed up at this point. You know what I mean? I don't. Debo keep doing what Debo does, and I'm good. But Brandon Ayuk will lay you on your butt, and nobody's messing with Juwan Jennings. Now, he's in a room with wide receivers that can block, and for me, that's going to make Ronnie Bell that much better the more he matriculates as a San Francisco 49er. So that's how I look at it. Fish and chips, I like this comment. I seen it. If I'm, he says Bell probably won't get many targets. He doesn't have to. He just needs to make the roster. And then he's going to go through the process and the rites of passage of being a rookie, right? But when his number is called, that's when he's asked to perform. If something happens to a receiver, I need you to go out there. Now, don't get it twisted. They will use Ronnie Bell in packages. Same way you saw Raven McLeod, same way you see some of these other wide receivers, okay? They will use Ronnie Bell in packages. You know why? Because he can get open. Something people said in college he struggled to do. Tried to tell people it was the system at Michigan. It wasn't him. It was the system. It was the type of quarterback that he had. So it's going to be interesting to see, what they do. Now, I do see some questions out there, and I promise you I've starred ones that stuck out to me, and we'll get to them. So if I'm not talking about it right now, my apologies. All right, so Ronnie Bell is my draft pick lock, and my undrafted pick lock is none other than undrafted cornerback out of the University of Texas. I hope I said that right. All right. He's a Longhorn. He's my brother's John Chapman's unsung hero, Deshaun Jameson. I feel like he's going to be a lock. Can he progress as a cornerback? Absolutely. But this is what he did at the cornerback. He had a PBU. All right. He also had 4 tackles. He did have 1 missed tackle. But listen, that's with minimal reps and him trying to stand out. The kid has speed. The kid can be utilized on special teams. But just thinking of all the different ways they can utilize this player. All right. Will it be kickoff return? I don't want to see him on punt return, but he can be a kickoff returner. That's what he specialized in at the University of Texas. You watched him return, for touchdowns, right? In college. But as a DB, I can see him growing more and more into that role. And here's the thing, as a DB, you ready for this? They lined him up and as a safety in the box. This dude played box safety because he just has speed. He played box safety, he played outside, and they had him in the slot. So it's going to be interesting to see what the 49ers do when they trim down their roster spots, right? Because I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know how it's going to pan out. Now, I do have Jameson there. I'm not going to tell you how many cornerbacks I have at the spot, but my 3 players that I feel like are going to be locks, going back to the front as my free agent guy, Marlon Davidson, he just stood out on film. He was better than people that have already been here for a while. Let that sink in. Number 2, Ronnie Bell. Yes, he has room to grow, things to learn, but you cannot take away from him being consistent in his performance. He went from having 50 snaps a preseason game to 10 snaps in the last preseason game. Y'all let that sink in for a second. The moment I saw he got 0 targets in that last preseason game and I stopped seeing him out on the football field, I was like, oh, he a lock. This is why I'm even doing this episode. Not only was he locked in, he was locked into a roster spot. So that's Ronnie Bell. And then Deshaun Jameson, man. How do you cut this kid who can potentially be a nickelback for you, who could potentially be an outside guy for you, as well as a playmaker on special teams? I just don't see those 3 guys being cut. I see those 3 guys as locks. Now, I told you I was going to open up the phone line, so I'm going to go ahead and put the link inside the chat. My man Nigel came up with a segment for this, and I thought I wrote it down somewhere, and I didn't. But I can't remember what he called it. Damn it. I thought I wrote it down. All right, here we go. I'm just going to put this down here. Here comes the link. So you guys can join the show. Please keep y'all stuff down to, 2 to 3 minutes because people they want to get their points across, right? They want to talk about their locks, their preseason, things like that. And that's pretty much what I want you guys to talk about. So here comes the link, man. Feel free to join the show. I think it was called Hot Takes. Was it called Hot Takes? I felt like it was called something else. But it could be Hot Takes. Maybe it was Hot Takes. Let's do that. No, it was hot takes. I had edited this. All right, it's the hot take phone line right now. So make sure you guys click on that link. If you're watching on Facebook, you could click on the link. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you could click on the link. I see the callers coming in as we speak. Now, when you come on, you got to give your hot take. You got 2 minutes to give a hot take. All right, so I'm going to start it up. You give me the thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and bring you in if you're part of this episode. Here we go. Hot take number 1. CJ Gray, what's going on, baby? Love the hat.
Oh, I appreciate it. Can you hear me?
Oh, we hear you nice and clear.
Oh, okay. I forgot to put in my headset, so I didn't even know if I could be even heard. But the Nick Bosa situation is where I'll start, man. We might see almost a mid-season holdout. I guess I'll fire in a hot take there.
That's a hot take. I'm curious to know, like, mid-season, though?
It can be up to that long because, I've been mentioning, is if the numbers were close, Nick would be doing a hold-in. And so the fact that he's not here at all, he's MIA, kind of tells me that, man, they got to be way far on those numbers. It's almost like the Niners are coming through with that TJ Watt contract to make him the highest paid edge rusher in the league, and they forgot about Donald, and they won't try to get it higher than Donald. I think Bosa is headhunting. I think he's like, look, Aaron Donald's got $32 million. Well, let's break the bank. Give me $35 to $40 million a season, and go on ahead and hit me with $120 to $150 million of that guaranteed. I think that's where Bosa is. I think Bosa's he's trying to get the Dak Prescott contract.
Listen, it's Nick Bosa, so he should be going for the gusto in this contract. Like, as much money as he can get. This is his first contract. This is when you really try to maximize off of your skills and your accomplishments. And he has pretty much everything in his favor. The only thing I feel like the 49ers can throw back in his face is his ability to stay injured. And if they give him all this money, the 49ers need some type of a insurance policy plan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Will you give some back? It could be anything like that can be causing the holdup. To me, that it has to be that. It's the only thing that makes sense, because you have to make him the highest defensive player in the world. Like, he was the best in the world. Aaron Donald is still dominant, but he got his contract. Chris Jones is looking to get his next contract. Like, he's still playing on a contract where he's making a lot of money, but he's outperformed that contract. And I know a lot of people are like, damn, why don't they just play for what they agreed upon? Because when you outperform it, you be like, yo, we need a reevaluation, because you don't go to work and work for the hourly wage if you're doing more than what you were asked to do and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at Bosa. I'm just mad that the 49ers aren't finding ways to, nip this in the bud. I can't. Go ahead.
But I don't know if they can just nip it in the bud.
They can.
If he wants way more money than
right.
Then I don't know how you just nip it in the bud. And then it's because it's like we pay attention to our roster and say, hey, we're not paying a quarterback, man, but we paying a left tackle, we paying a wide receiver, we paying a running back, we paying a tight end, we paying 2 defensive tackle contracts. Eric Armstead is over $20 million, and Hargrave signed a $20 million deal. We signed Tavarius Ward to a huge deal. Fred Warner's getting broken off. Sooner or later, you run out of money. That's just basically what I'm saying. Is sooner or later, you run out of money. Brandon Ayuk is coming up, and we have to. I mean, you're gonna have to pay him. You're gonna have to,
or you don't, or you don't.
Don't pay him,
or you don't. So and people
if you don't pay him.
No, but people don't want to have that conversation, right? They're you got to pay Brandon Ayuk. I mean, yeah, but you don't, and this might be a factor. Like, people are like, Trey Lance was traded because he sucked, right? Trey Lance maybe, but he also cost a lot of money.
Cost $5.5 million next year,
right? And so that's a lot of money. That's not $500,000. That's like $5 million. Right. So like that's money you need back. And it would have been more than that, but they they got Dallas to pay everything. Because remember, the other teams wanted the Niners to cover half of that
Yeah.
to pay that $5.5
They
million
wanted and lowball them with like a
with the sixth round pick. So
contract.
yeah, so like people aren't understanding like it's always going to be politics and business as usual. That's the American way. Like it's unfortunate. So the only thing I like that I agree with you though is that Nick, the number is way high. Like it's just high, and the Niners are like, I can't pay that.
And so that takes me to the next part of it is Nick Bosa's either they might be a long holdout, or they might have to start talking about who they're going to trade him to.
Who going to trade him to? We saw this with DeForest Buckner, bro.
And then the surprising team that I'm circling on my board for trading him to is the Colts, because the Colts has got Anthony Richardson. Well, his name, Richardson on that.
So that means they got a rookie contract.
They got tons of cap space. They can say, screw it, we'll pay Bosa, we'll pay you $40 million a season to come here, and then they won't have to, and because they're not really paying any big stars like that. They got a rookie contract. I think if you look on the cap space, I think they got tons of cap space right now.
So here's the news, the report that's coming out live as we're doing the show. Ian Rappaport, no deal imminent on the Bosa. They're not close.
Saying,
but I agree with that. It's just the Niners got to figure out how to get closer. It's really up to the Niners to find a way to make a way. If this person is not going to budge, you either say too rich for my blood. I don't know if you gamble, too rich for my blood, or you find a way. Like so will the Niners find a way? That's another episode. But listen, I got to get David on here and my man Dion. But CJ Gray, great hot take, man. Great hot take. Appreciate you, brother. All right, peace. All right, David, man, you're on Hot Takes with Breezie, baby. What's going on, fam?
Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
We hear you nice and clear too, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, the Niners just have to do one game at a time. Just Brock Purdy has to stay healthy, and just one game at a time. After that, we'll go to that big game, hopefully, in Vegas. And what the first guy said about Nick Bosa, if he doesn't play the first 3 games, you think we could win?
I think we can win. I just think it's going to be hard. Like, it's going to be harder because we're on the road. I mean, I know we're on the road for 2 weeks. I hope people know that we go from Pittsburgh to Los Angeles.
That's our second home. That's our second home.
Yeah, well, it is, and it is. It's our second home. It's but still, it's still a road game, and you're asking. Exactly. You're not having your best player there. I don't like the way the 49ers last year, let me put this in here, played without Nick Bosa on the field. I remember being in Atlanta, and I remember getting bullied, and that wasn't cool.
Yeah, exactly. So without him, it'd be like what you said, it'd be tough. So if he doesn't play the whole season, and you think we can make the playoffs?
I think the Niners at some point will get into some type of a rhythm to figure it out. And I'm sorry, but Steve Wilks will definitely be earning his salary this year if there's no Nick Bosa. If there's no Nick Bosa, which it is a possibility that there won't be a Nick Bosa, because right before you guys came on, I said specifically that if Nick Bosa is the best player in the world, he ain't playing for $18 million. He's just not if he's the best. I wouldn't.
Exactly. I agree with you.
So it's going to be tough, but I think Steve Wilks will know. And it sucks too, because if the Niners don't live up to the hype that their defense is, Steve Wilks is going to get all the fire.
Yeah, one more thing. If Kyle Shanahan don't win the Super Bowl this year, if you the GM, what will you tell Kyle Shanahan? For 8th season. This is seventh year.
Yep.
If he doesn't win it this year, what will you tell him next year?
I think as a GM, Kyle Shanahan gets this year. He gets 2 years. He has 2 years for me.
Yeah, exactly.
As a GM. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I know Kyle's gonna come back. If stuff don't work out, he's gonna be like, well, we didn't have Bosa and he's a 7th round pick. So to give me one more year. I feel like that's just the story. Like that Kyle's gonna use. Jets probably already agree. Listen, Kyle, you got 2 years to get this junk done, bro. That's it.
That's how I see it. If Kyle Shanahan don't make the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl this year, I will tell him, I'm the GM. You don't win the Super Bowl in your 8th year, you're gone.
Yeah,
that's what I tell.
Unfortunately, it won't be the GM, David. It would have to be Jed York vetoing the GM power.
Exactly.
I believe that this is John Lynch's last year.
Oh, okay.
And I think he walks away. I don't think he gets fired. I think he gracefully bows out. That's just me.
Okay.
That's my take. I don't want people saying that that's the story. No. That's just my take. Just from all the stuff that's going down and the way that the Niners, it's just a weird type of organization. I don't think Lynch has the authority or the power that most GMs have in the league. And I think Kyle Shanahan's on that. I could just be the GM like Bill Belichick, sort of, kind of. Like I agree with
you. I agree with you.
Yeah. So that's where I am with it. But listen, man,
yeah,
that's a great hot take, bro. And I appreciate you for calling in, man. You got to do it more often.
Sure. Yeah, for sure, man. I will.
All right, man. Stay up. Stay faithful, brother.
Yeah, always. To the Niners all day and to the day I die.
Yes, sir. Peace out,
all
man.
right, man. You take care.
You too. All right, here we go. I don't know what Peachy's talking about in the chat. No one listens to me because you're a girl. Ha, ha, ha. I guess. All right, let's go, Dion. Here we go. You on, baby? Are you at work? Dion looks like he's at work. I'm going to have to mute Dion. This is the hot takes line. There he is.
Hey, come back to me real quick, Breezy.
All right. Gotcha. All right, let's get Terradome on here. What's going on, Terradome? What's going on, Bishop?
Oh, Dion gonna be mad.
Yeah? He gonna be mad? Why he gonna be mad?
Because he's got to follow the Terradome.
He's got to follow the Terradome. I like that. All right, here we go, Terradome. I need a hot take, man, from you. All the stuff that's going down. Niner season is about to start. You get this breaking news that there's no deal imminent. What's going on?
It feels like the part of the Blues Brothers when they say it's 107 miles to Joliet. We've got a half a tank of gas.
How are we gonna get there, bro?
Half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. And
dark
John
shades
Blues
at that.
Says, hit it.
Yes, he does. I love it. I love the Blues Brothers reference. Just go ahead, man. Let us know what you got for him.
We gonna dance. I've been on this platform. Shout out to Nitty Gritty Niners. Shout out to Nothing But Niners. Shout out to Real Talk Niner Talk. Shout out to Brian Culp. Shout out to Larry Kruger. Shout out to everybody in the Content Talks. Ladies of the Empire. Everybody. I've been telling y'all since I seen what I seen, and it made me. I went back to the stats. I went back to film. I went back and looked at everything I knew how to look at as a San Francisco 49er. Been doing this thing since I was 11 years old in 1981. And God laid something on me, Breezy. Can I go to the word?
Go ahead and preach for me.
I have in my possession 3 books by the great Bill Walsh. There is The Score Takes Care of Itself. Behind me, there is Finding the Winning Edge, which don't nobody try to go out and buy that unless you get a little bit of you get a loan or whatever. And then there is a book called Bill Walsh, Building a Champion. I'm going to read a quick excerpt because I know we got other people that's coming in, and I'm going to be real quick. I was just on Crocs reading this. And on page 13, I'm gonna say it again. y'all ain't amen as much as I'm praying. But on page 13, it says the care and feeding of quarterbacks. And then it reads, why do teams make mistakes on quarterbacks? Sometimes it's a manner of being sold by the media on quarterback's performance in college without realizing he doesn't have a potential to become a solid professional performer. Or it's being oversold on a quarterback's arm. He later goes on subsequently on page 14, listing some of his illustrated traits, and it says natural competitive instinct, a prerequisite in quarterbacking. He has to be spontaneous. He has to be able to exercise his creativity. Then you have to look at his quick delivery. Then you have to look at his agility and movement. They are very, very important. Functionally instinctive mental processing. He says it process the ability to think on your feet. He says you want a person that can thrive on a task itself and relate quickly. He says, again, once you've selected your quarterback, the first factor for success is his credibility. Do his teammates seriously believe in that he can perform in the moments? He then goes on to say some other illustrated things in reference to leadership and poise, mechanical efficiency, poise. He doesn't put the premium on just the big arm and these big attributes. It's some nuanced idiosyncrasies that you got to have for your quarterback. He said that as a man who had been passed over for a couple of jobs, I've studied the life of Bill Walsh. I've looked into the soul of what he did and how he did it. And everybody at some time or another has felt irrelevant, has felt blackballed, has been betrayed, has been looked over, looked past, looked up and down, and looked around. This is the reason why Bill Walsh has this symposium for minority coaches to come. No other coaches. They talking about a whole bunch of other coaches. But Bill Walsh started this with a great guy named Harry Edwards, who used to be down with the Black Panthers, Huey Newton, and his name escapes me, Bobby Seale, and all of them. Harry Edwards, a professor at Berkeley. Bill Walsh knew what it was to be looked past. And sometimes we looking in the natural realm. We looking at skin color, we looking at this, and we looking at that. But as a great man named Nathaniel Holcomb, who was my chief apostle when I began my walk in ministry, said, it's about the spirit of a man. Acts 10:34 talks about God is no respecter of people. It's about the spirit of a man. And what has transpired and what's happened, we have a soft bigotry of draft bias. We equate your value where you have been drafted, what we moved up to get you, and how you got drafted. And we said, well, we traded him for a fourth. Well, we traded that for a fifth. Well, he's a first rounder. He's a second round. He's a seventh. He's a third. He's a fifth. He's an undrafted free agent. But you have to look beyond that, as 1 Samuel 16 so eloquently said. It's about the spirit of a man. What do a man really have in his spirit, in his guts? Is he fulfilling what you need in the moments you need it? I'm telling y'all, to a man, you take the skin color off, you take off the jersey, you take off the pretenses, and all other tenses and everything else. Somebody just got out here with limited reps last year. Unless y'all like, oh, Men in Black looked into this flashy thing. Somebody got out here and just performed. I don't care if he black, white, Chinese, Puerto Rican, Asian, Hispanic, Guatemalan, Mediterranean. I don't care if he came from the Sea of Tranquility. I don't care if he was on Captain Kirk's ship on Star Trek and he's green. Somebody back there wore number 13 and took this offense from 24.5 to 33 points a game. Now we can equivocate, we can motivate, we can roller skate, or we can root a boot or start a fight. But I ain't got nothing to do with the defenses. I ain't got nothing to do with the personnels. I ain't got nothing to do with where he had CMC and he had DMC and he had run and he had no. Somebody was out there doing it. That's all I'm saying. And if you're waiting for Patrick Mahomes to come to this team, you're going to be waiting until the end of time, as Tupac so eloquently said. Patrick Mahomes don't play for my team. I know he good. I know he great. I know he did this and he ain't that, but he ain't Jesus. Patrick Mahomes can get whooped like everybody else. And I plan on whooping him every time I see him. And this goes for all the other 31 teams who think they gonna line up against the San Francisco 49ers. The seat is hot, and I know what that is. As dispatchers for 911, we have 15 seconds to get the information that you are calling for in your most downtrodden lives, in the most downtrodden situations in your life. We have 15 seconds to find out exactly where you are, determine your phone number, and get exactly what you need, whether it's fire, medical, police, or all three. I know what it is to be in that seat and stand that heat. And let me tell you, I look at people, I evaluate people. It's some people who get this job, man, and they padded their resumes a little bit to just get that government money. You know how you do. It's cool. Everybody does it. But when I get you in that seat and that child unhung himself, or that spouse is blue and not breathing, or that pregnancy is imminent, 9 months, and she's dilating, and the contractions are coming between 2 and 5 minutes. Oh, it's coming up in here. I'm gonna find out who you really are. We go for the people who stand the test of time, who you test and make sure they got it and perform when they need to perform. Now, injuries do happen, but that man ain't go out here and injure himself. He ain't go out here and get drunk and mangle his arm. We had somebody who was a little subpar miss a block.
I don't know what game you watch, but he ain't missed the block.
Well,
look.
Let's say
he didn't miss the block, so that's false information.
A piss poor performance.
It wasn't even a piss poor performance. It was a play made from a speed rusher on a tight end. That's all it was. He didn't miss the block. And if you want to really be critical,
I'm 53 years old.
If you want to be critical, if you want to be critical,
I will say this:
if you want to be critical, hold on, because I let you speak for 5 minutes.
Go ahead.
So if you want to be critical about the situation, Brock should have dialed up that fucking ball and threw it. But instead, he was waiting for the big play. Oh, where have we seen that before?
Where?
Trey Lance does it all the time, takes a sack, and everybody wants to get on him for it because he doesn't get the ball out of his hand quick.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, Brock still has to learn pocket awareness, which I feel like he will. Brock's the guy moving forward because the team has pushed him to be the guy. Everything you said about Brock is correct because everything he did. Like, you can't take it back. He did everything you just said. And this wasn't even for me trying to come at Brock, but when you sat there and started giving me false information, Trey Lance didn't go get hurt neither. I don't think any quarterback says I'm good. You didn't, but you can't sit there and say that Brock didn't. So I'm going to add that neither did Trey Lance. That's all I'm saying. We weren't even talking about injuries. We were talking. You should have just stuck on what he did. What he did was phenomenal. Because that's what when I see Brock Purdy, I get phenomenal player.
I wasn't making it a personal diatribe towards Breezie, but I am hearing and I have heard people say Brock went out there and got hurt.
Because on that, but for some people, if they're saying this, and I can't speak for them, but for some people, they may feel what I just described about that particular play. They may feel like it was Croft, right? It's on Croft, but Brock has to have that awareness in the pocket. And if he does, he steps up and he makes the throw. And or he gets the quicker read, which is what we're seeing him do now, right? And so that's if I was one of the people saying that, which I'm not, but if I was one of the people,
I never said
I know, but I'm just saying if I was
you're so many viewers.
No. What I'm saying, if I was one of those people saying that, then I would be saying it's because of this, because this is what I see when I look at it. Now, we can sit and watch it together, which we have, but you've seen it, Terra Dome. You see him hold that ball and pat it, and he's trying to get the ball to the wide open Brandon Ayuk, and it's just not enough time. That's a schematic.
It happened.
Play.
Hey, you know something? I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna go this far because the buck stops here.
Okay.
When you're the CEO, president, and everything else, hey, the buck stops here. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take that one. Give me that one play. Give me that one play. But I will bet dollars to donuts, and I will bet everybody looking in this camera on into perpetuity. When we were going to Philadelphia, you felt every bit of confidence in your mind that the San Francisco 49ers was going to win that game.
I could tell you I didn't.
You ain't feel that San Francisco was going to win that game?
The moment, you can ask Mose, you can ask whoever was with me, the moment Elijah Mitchell was listed inactive, I got nervous. Because the 49ers game plan is to keep that deep.
When this was scheduled up, you didn't feel that the San Francisco 49ers was going to win the game.
I said, what? Say that again?
When this was scheduled up, when we won that game?
When it was scheduled up, I did. I told you when I started feeling my doubts is when the team started emancipating. Basically, when your other running back that I watched sat there and be a dominant force is missing the game, that's a key piece. That's why people don't even want... I don't want to say that on this show, but that's why people aren't in favor of Elijah Mitchell, because of his availability. I'm saying is Brock was injured on a play, and some people are questioning, does he have it? You didn't watch Brock do anything in preseason that wooed you, right? There was no throw that he did that make you be like, damn. So
he didn't flash with the big arm moment.
It's not just a big arm moment. It's just there was no throw.
That chapter 13, that page 13.
It's not just the big arm moment, bro.
Big arm.
Man, it's not just that. It's just he didn't wow anybody with. All right, it could be big arm. I mean, even Sam Darnold wowed us with the big arm throw, right? I mean, I think that's what kind of made him stick out. But everything that Brock did, people kept saying, oh, it's a check down. Now, listen, I'm the first person that wants to move the damn chains. I don't care if it's a check down, screen, halfback, toss, pass, quarterback statue. But I don't care as long as it nets positive yards. I don't care about dink and dunk, fake the funk on. I don't care about any of that as long as it's positive. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
some people feel that way, but because they all reverted to what's wrong with dink and dunk? Like, if it keeps the defenses running sideline to sideline, doesn't that tire that behind out? So I'm cool with dink and dunk, but I think some people are worried about they associate Terra Dome the dink and dunk because they're afraid that the elbow may be affected. And I think, to be fair to them, we can't knock them for feeling that way. Like we can't.
You use the key point, afraid that the elbow won't last.
Yeah.
Afraid, would you say a synonym is fear?
Yeah, I mean, but you can say that, but you
Fear,
could.
fear and faith cannot occupy the same space.
I mean, if he got hurt and his elbow was, if he never got hurt, the fear wouldn't be there, right? So the fact that he was injured and it injured his throwing elbow, pterodome, is what makes people a little worried, which can lead to fear, which can lead to being afraid. And there's nothing wrong with that, even though we need to find a way to overcome that. I think Brock's first real performance would start allowing people, right, to be less fearful, especially if he's winning. I think if he wins a game, no one cares if it's a dink and dunk throw. No one cares if he can throw the ball 30 yards down the field. No one would care. But you didn't see any of that. You saw an efficient offense. You saw him get the ball to the red zone with his team, which is more important than the big arm throw, than the big throw, right? I think to me that's more important because all we want is touchdowns in the red zone. Like that's, now he did have some mistakes. I'm not going to say he was perfect, but you can promote your side, but I just like to listen to both sides.
I ain't promoting my side. I'm just going with the score takes care of itself.
Amen. That's true, but he did, and the game has changed since Bill Walsh is coach, right? I mean, the principles are there, but don't you have to adapt to the nuances of the game? Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, you can live off of that. Perfect example, the Bible.
Amen. I'm glad you brought that up. Go ahead.
Right. So the principles are there. And now how do you apply the principles to today's time? I think that's kind of like what I'm going with. So yeah, you use his principles.
Yes.
But then how do you apply it? How do you get it to fit in today's language for today's youth? That's all I'm saying.
You get gifted personnel, as it says in Ephesians 4. And then he gave some apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors, some teachers for the perfecting of the saints, the work of the ministry, and the edifying of the body of Christ. Throughout time, things were different now than they were in the 80s when my dad was here, in the 60s when his dad was around, in the 40s when granddad was in the 20s. But you know something? Those principles will still apply and they will still work. You just move it up. And in the times that Jesus spoke to the people, he was using what's called aggregation a great deal because they were an aggregate society. They used to plant. He used to talk about mustard seeds and things of that nature. Now I move it up into a video age, and I'm talking about videos. I'm talking about movies. I'm talking about things that I know that can hit you in a common relationship because everybody saw New Jack City, or just about everybody saw New Jack City. And when Nino Brown said, hey, if I'm going down, everybody going down with me, I got a list in my pocket a mile long. Now it hits you different. But Jesus had to speak on an aggregate society about the size of a mustard seed in faith. That's how it goes down. The principle's still there. Mm-hmm. We just have to move it. And with 60% of the offenses in the National Football League, a lot coming from Bill Walsh. A lot they all use the same tags. They all use scattered to west, right, tight, F left, 372, Y zig Z spot. They just might change something a little bit. They might say boss, 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 which means block the strong safety. Or they might say Bruce, 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 because Bruce is the boss. And that means to block this strong safety. Hey, the principles are still there.
I agree. I agree. It's about how you apply them to today's game. You got to get those principles, if you live by them, to fit and to correspond with today's language. And I think that might be a little bit of the issue. Listen, Pterodome, love you, brother. Got to get Dion on here.
Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. All right, bro. You're here. I got to get your hot take. We had a hot take. We just finished with the quarterback situation. Had a hot take on the Nick Bosa situation. Where you going with your hot take, baby?
My hot take is very simple. For all y'all out there that trust Kyle Shanahan, you can. I don't. I'm sorry. I've been lied to one too many times. I've been disrespected one too many times. And I say I as if he talked to me individually because I am a fan of this team. And I'm just I don't trust him anymore than I can throw him. And the way that that young man was treated during his time here was extremely unfair. He was not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form. I know a lot of people feel like he was. And I don't believe any of the stuff that he says when he talks about, I feel like I let Trey down. No, you don't. Because if you felt like you let Trey down, then you wouldn't have done to him the same thing you did to Jimmy Ward and made him lose his job to injury, just like you said that you can't lose your job to injury. I'm sorry. Kyle is a lying, narcissistic, you know what. And I don't care for him. Unless you bring me in Lombardi, that's the only way you get back in my good graces. And if you don't bring us a Lombardi, you should be out the door, you and Lynch, for the egregious way that y'all handled that situation. Any other head coach and GM tandem that would have done something like that, truthfully, would have been fired. My number one thing right now is I love this team. I will always be a 49er faithful. I wish Trey nothing but the best. I hope that he succeeds wherever he goes. I know he's in Dallas right now, but I hope that he is able to do some amazing things throughout the league. And that doesn't mean that I'm not a 49er fan. And I had people come to me, oh, well, you know, if you like Trey so much, go be a Cowboy fan. First of all, you just got here, bro. I've been around since 85. So don't come to me and try to tell me what I should and shouldn't do with my time or my thoughts or my day when you barely start watching the game, and I've been watching this for a long time. My number one thing right now, I'm getting really worried, Breezy. Nick Bosa ain't here. I do not like this. I'm getting nervous. Brog, stop playing. Get it together. Whatever he wants, give it to him. From what I hear from several different people, they're all saying it's a time thing. Bosa wants a 4. They want to give him a 5 or a 6 or whatever. Give that man his 4-year deal. Let that man re-up. You know he's going to make you a lot more money than he's going to make from the contract you give him. At the end of the day, you know what he does. You know what he brings. Pay that young man. His daddy ain't playing about that bread. I done told y'all this. You didn't see what happened with Joey already? Come on, man. You had to know this was coming. You know what I'm saying? For me, I wish this team nothing but the best. I want us to succeed. I want us to go to the playoffs. I want a Super Bowl. But I am so sorry. If we fall short, if Brock Purdy is a flash in the pan, and he's not the same dude that we saw last year, Kyle needs to go because you decided to put all your eggs in one basket. And I'm going to give you one more hot take because I got to get back to work. I will say this. People, be prepared. If we fail this season, Captain Kirk is coming. He is a free agent. He has informed the Vikings that he will be a free agent next year. He is not re-signing with them. And if
What
he
the
has...
hell is that shit?
Exactly. 100,000,000%. Exactly. That's the crap that we don't want happening because Kirk Cousins ain't around when the lights are on. And I don't want to hear no excuses. Oh, well, he didn't have the best team around. I don't want to hear none of that. At the end of the day, that man had more than enough firepower on that Vikings team to make it to the damn Super Bowl, and he never did. I don't think him coming here is going to change anything, just like I don't think having Sam Darnold here is going to make him any better. Sam Darnold is who he is. He done really showed you who he is. Now, that's a person that the media could go ahead and malign and talk crap about because he gave you 56 games worth of hot garbage. But you could destroy Trey Lance in the media and say his career is over. Dan Orlovsky with your worthless self, spending 12 years in the league being a backup. Ain't nobody believe in you. Nobody thought you were a franchise guy, but you got the nerve to knock this young kid and he ain't even barely played? Come on now. But I'm telling you, one, pay Bosa. Give that man his money and stop playing with them years on that contract. 2, we fail, Captain Kirk will be here, unfortunately. And 3, if this season is a loss, Kyle, goodbye, good riddance, wouldn't want to be. Love you, Breezy. Everybody like and subscribe. Breezy is amazing. He does great work, and I got nothing but love for this dude. He knows when he come to AC, that's my guy. Got it.
Love you, bro. Those were some hot takes. Those were hot takes. Wow. hot takes. I don't know how I feel about firing Kyle Shanahan, but I don't have a problem tearing him a new butthole and bringing him down. Like I don't want to fire him, but he needed to get some heat. He needs to get some heat if things don't work out in the way he has them envisioned, right? Like if they don't work out, we got to start asking questions. I don't think Kyle will be the scapegoat. I think he has plenty of coaches and GMs set up to be the scapegoat. And so it's a possibility if the defense flusters, you move on from Steve Wilkes, right? Even though Steve Wilkes don't have the best player that he thought he was going to have when he signed up for the deal. So as far as Brock Purdy, he's the guy. I can't wait to. I'm rocking with Brock. I rocked with Brock last year. Dome said something about watching Brock. The feeling that you got when you went out to a game after you won those first couple of games was like, oh, how we gonna lose? And he right. But I did get a little flustered, not because of Brock, in that NFC Championship game when we lost the running back. So I just wanted to say that. Hot takes were on point. Appreciate everybody with their hot takes. Let's get to the Super Chat segment so we can get up out of here, man. You guys are amazing. You guys are super respectful in the comment section. I've been reading and watching the comments and things like that, man. Keep being that way. I truly appreciate it. We got a couple of Super Chats and a couple of questions that I think I saw that I wanted to get to and things like that. Niner Cali boy with the contribution goes back and says, hey, man, I give them an incomplete because they didn't finish the assignment with Trey. So we talked about grades and what grade will you give the trade? And he says an incomplete because we didn't get much of Trey Lance out there. Like, we didn't really finish the assignment. Aaron, 49ers first takes in the building. He says, I'm officially behind Marty McFly. Brock Purdy. If you guys didn't see Saturday's episode of 49ers first takes, Aaron was throwing the Back to the Future references out there. So thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. I appreciate that. And my brother Sean says, I have a weird feeling having Mitchell on the team. We were talking about Elijah Mitchell. He is never healthy, waste of a roster spot. Brock generally goes where it's supposed to the open man. Yeah. So a couple of takes in here. It's super fear, FAIR, to feel like he takes up a roster spot when he's kind of unavailable. But I'm sorry, he's the second best running back on this team. That's the end of that. That's a bomb. Wait. I got the sound. There it is. He's the second best running back on the team. Second best. It's not a stab at Jordan Mason or Ty Davis Price. Elijah Mitchell is the second best running back on this roster. And some people feel like he's even a better pure running back than Christian McCaffrey. So let that sink in. But hey, man, you're right. Like, if he's not here, isn't he a waste of a roster spot? I think the 49ers can figure out way. If he's not healthy, he has the adductor strain. So if the Niners, he would have to, if I'm not mistaken, like, in order to get on the PUP or the IR, you have to make the roster first. If they designate you to go on that before the season starts, I believe you're out for the year. I don't think you want Elijah Mitchell out for the year playing on that rookie contract, which means you kind of like lose a whole year on a cheaper deal. I don't think you want that. But listen, I think the Niners understand what they need to do for their running back room. Bobby Turner's on it, and Bobby I trust, not really worried about it. But if Mitchell is healthy and available for the San Francisco 49ers, the run game is just phenomenal. It's just he has to figure out a way to take care of his body on the football field. And maybe those injuries last year, he had, so people, just for people that don't understand, okay, I see that, Kylie. That's funny. But for people that don't understand, so Elijah Mitchell took over as the starting running back his rookie season, all right, for an injured Raheem Mostert. Go figure, right? And during that season, literally, he was nicked up and banged up, but he played the whole year Okay. And then the second season he came in, and then all of a sudden here comes these knee injuries. Now week one gets hit in the knee. And it changed the game plan from Kyle Shanahan in a monsoon rainy Chicago. All right. It changed the game plan. So after that, he came back, and then he just got hit in the other knee, and next thing you know, boom, it was down. Brock generally goes where it's supposed to. Yeah, that's what you love about Brock. It's the it factor in him. He has that superstar ability, right? And he knows when to turn it on, and that's what I love about Brock. You know, can he make plays, extend plays? Yes, he could do that as well. My only concern about Brock Purdy is, can his body withstand the NFL? I think that's it. I feel like that's it for every San Francisco 49er player now that you think about it. And that's it. It's not about him playing quarterback. It's about him being available to play quarterback. How about that? Like that's it for me when it comes to Brock Purdy. Like, will he find a way to be available all the time? They say that your best ability is your availability. So I rock with Brock. I don't want people to get anything misconstrued. Brock is the guy. And I'm not saying that just because Trey Lance is gone. I was saying that while Trey Lance was here. You got to rock with Brock, man. He did the damn thing. I thought Trey was mishandled more with that second string role, which I thought Trey should have clearly beat out Sam Darnold, but people were telling us from the jump Sam Darnold was going to be quarterback too. Didn't believe them. Still don't believe them. Not from what I saw, but that's who Kyle went with. So that's what happened. But at the end of the day, the 49ers have to start preparing themselves for, this season. And they're doing their due diligence, right? They got to get this roster down to 53 men, and they got to make sure that they provide the healthiest roster they can. And we went over the injuries at the very beginning of the show, and it just doesn't look too good. You know what I'm saying? Or whatnot. There was a couple of questions I wanted to get to. And they're both the same questions. So Mosquito Killer and my man Niners_Nation. I wanted to get to your questions. You guys had some pretty cool questions out there, but they both involve the 49ers going after getting Derek Burnett. So I'm going to read both of them. Derek Burnett requested a trade from the Eagles. Do we go after them? Wayne, what do you think of making a trade with the Eagles for Derek Barnett? Listen, I want to. I would love that. I just don't know how we could pay him if we still don't have Bosa. Now, if they do this, nah, I ain't gonna say that. That's dumb. What if the Niners did some crazy junk and traded Nick Bosa to Philly for Derek Barnett and a second round? I don't know. Just some crazy. Ain't gonna be no Kinlaw for Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett is another type of premium pass rusher in the league. I think you want to get him in here with Nick Bosa. Would they possibly trade Drake Jackson or somebody like that with some upside and some youth? I don't know, but I don't think the Niners would. I don't think they could. Right now, I think their only priority is finding a way to get Nick Bosa in here. I think that's their only priority. Luke, Breezie under 34. Pray if it's over 35. Do they consider trading? Just an example. Then you pay one or both. Listen, I hate the NFL and the business. Who created the salary cap? Whoever did that should be fired. But there's so many possibilities, right? Because they'll have to look for a team that's willing to pay him. He'll have to find a team that's willing to pay him. And if you're going to trade Nick Bosa, you have to get a premium edge rusher back. This is not, I don't give a flying about the pick. It's who am I getting back? And there's never, ever going to be another Nick Bosa. So that's tough. I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I gotta find a way to keep Nick Bosa on this roster. Guys, we'll be bringing you nonstop coverage until Nick Bosa is signed. I promise that breaking news joint will pop off like it's nothing. I see that, Niners Nation says the salary cap hit is only $3.5 million this year. Yeah, but you got to get into those next years. It lessens the cap this year, but there's a big drop from Nick Bosa and Derek Barnett. I mean, it's a big drop. It's a big drop. Big drop. Big drop. Couldn't do it. I couldn't trade Nick Bosa. Is he replaceable? No. I don't think so. But it's the Niners and it's money and it's not that they're being cheap. It's not the message that I'm promoting. It comes down to what Nick Bosa is really asking for and what the Niners are willing to pay. You ever go and try to buy something and can you make deals on like Louis Vuitton and stuff? I don't have any of that designer stuff, but can you get deals on that, or is that price tag pretty much the damn price tag? You see it in the store. Are you trying to say if something is 10.5, right? And are you trying to get it for 10 stacks out the door? I mean, I'm gonna try, but will they budge is the question. That's kind of like the way I'm seeing it, man. That's the way I'm seeing it. Damn it, Terra Dome. I didn't want to know the answer, even though I knew the answer. But listen, shout out to today's episode. Everybody on the show, you guys were phenomenal. Shout out to the hot takes. I'm going to chop that up, put that out there, man. I appreciate it, man. The hot takes were hot. Yo, we go back and forth. Everybody was fired up. The chat was fired up. Love you guys. Listen, we'll be back Wednesday. Same time, same place, man. Until then, you got to find a way to remain faithful. Stay up, stay strong. It's going to be real. Listen, tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Nitty Gritty crew will be here, and we will be doing our 53-man roster episode. This is going to be crazy. Can't wait to see what the crew has picked. Love y'all. Peace out.
I be sipping gold bar, whiskey on the rocks, and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping non-stop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. Wayne Breezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. Wayne Breezie, the 4-9 preacher.